Well folks, welcome back to the workshop. This one ain't so much of a repair video, more of a how-to video. This is actually a Metabo hammer, an older one, KHE 5/40. It's a Metabo Rotary Hammer. And it's running, she's rotating and she's hammering. This is just a wee how-to video on how to actually get some oil or grease up onto the head, because these ones are a little bit awkward to actually top up with grease. So this one's running and she's hammering. But she's just not 100%. She's hammering well enough, but every once in a while it is losing the hammer a little bit, and you have to either lift it off or let go of the trigger to get it to hammer again. Normally that's either an indication that the grease up in here is actually dried up and gone hard, or there's not a lot of grease on it. So this one just needs a bit of a top up. Customer does not want a service done on it, but he does want a little bit of grease added onto it, so that's what we're going to do here. But these are a little bit awkward to top up with grease. It's not just a case of pulling off this here top lever or top cover or a wee nut on the top or the side like a lot of hammers. These here you actually have to take off the whole top section to get inside to add grease. So that's what you're just going to do here today. It's a nice, sweet, quick, simple one, but it's awkward. So if you need to add grease to your Metabo hammer, one of these models, this is how you do it. Right, everything's good in this. Seems to have a new set of brushes and all fitted to it. Take off the bottom cover, and we need to take off the handle. But of course, it's not just these two screws holding on the handle. This is where it starts to get complicated. We also actually have to remove the handle itself. Pull that back. There's more screws on here. There's a wee bit of stripping down just to put grease into this thing. But then if it was easy, I wouldn't need to do a video on it. So take that off. Try to keep all that together if you can. Stop bits flying everywhere. Get the handle off so we can take out these screws so you can actually separate the two halves of this. Now, this is the top of the gearbox housing. This is all one piece, and then there's a seam here. This is actually the bottom of the gearbox housing. You can't just open these two up and separate the top, put the grease on. You have to take out the motor. These here, this bottom is actually screwed on to the top. It's not these screws that hold the two halves together. So you have to take the motor out. So pull back your brushes. And pull the two halves out. Now it looks like it was rubbing before, look. There's a brand new bearing fitted down in there too. Now, these are the screws holding on the bottom half. You can screw them out to take this off, but the easier thing to do is take out your actual armature. That should pull off. And yeah, somebody has done some of this before, because that there's also a new bearing. Customer says this has been lying up for a while. and that's why it's probably not hammering correctly. Now you can go ahead and fit some grease. I'm going to use this here Bosch stuff because that's what I normally use, but it's very expensive. You can just get the Makita stuff instead. That's the number there if you're looking for it. 30 mils would actually be fine for this here hammer. That's a lot easier to fit, to buy and fit. Like I say, I normally use Bosch, so those are the ones that I'm going to use. Plus it's easier for me to fit. I'm just going to put on the same amount, 30 mil. So get some in there. Tap down. Don't put on too much. That's around 30 mil. That'll do. Put your armature back in again. Now if you wanted to make a proper job of this, you would take these screws out and actually take off this bottom plate, dismantle the whole chuck up on here to get the C-clip, pull out the whole hammer pipe so you can get to your striker hammer and your piston and change them two O-rings as well. That'll give your maximum compression and get it running like new again. But these here are not easy to strip apart and rebuild. They're very awkward. So if you can get away with this, go with this. So drop that back in. Reinstall your screws. And that should hopefully get this up and running like it should. You can see now why the customer only wants the grease topped up. There's obviously had work done on it already. So at some stage he's had new brushes fitted because they look brand new, and new bearings on the motor. So let's see, the bearings must have failed in this before and I got them fixed. Or got them replaced. Don't forget the spring actually. And he knows he doesn't need anything else done to it apart from maybe grease. That on. All your screws back in. Like I say, this is an awkward machine to work on. Most hammers have an easy way to actually top up the grease. Obviously Metabo didn't think of that when they were designing this one. And one other thing I will do is just fit a new grommet, because that one's broken. Should be nothing wrong with the lead, at least I hope there isn't. So I'll just reuse that and just get rid of the old grommet. Now I don't have an actual Metabo grommet, so Bosch one's going to have to do. Just actually file down the outside of it so it actually fits into the handle. Little mod, but it'll do the job. Now, that should neaten that up. Always hate to see a machine without a grommet on the end of it. A gland fitting, you see here boys. Without that, the cable bends too much at the very top and eventually starts to break the cable. That's where you'll get it breaking. Well, these here will actually spread the bend out further so it's less likely to break, or at least allows it to last longer. Drop that on there. Install your handle. Just make sure the leads are out of the way. It's a big long wire for the actual stoplight, the red service light, so make sure that's not going to get nipped. Drop that back on again. That's it. That's where you put extra grease into one of these Metabo KHE 5/40 rotary hammers. So a quick rerun to get the grease moving through. Give it a wee test. That's her, ready for work. Not a very complicated one today, but one that might save somebody someday that just needs to put a bit of grease into their Metabo hammer. Now, not all Metabos are this complicated to open up, but this particular one was. So that's how you do it if you ever need to add a little bit of grease into your hammer. Bit of work, but it is very much doable. Anyway, cheers for watching. Chat to you later.